G'day guys, how are you doing? Today I'm going to be doing the Disney Cruise Line tag crew edition. Now if you see me looking down, it's because I have all the questions here and I needed to remember exactly what it was actually called. But this is a little tag that I found on YouTube by PerksOfHarriet, I believe her name is. Which she's on YouTube and Instagram, so feel free to go and look at her answers as well. She's a youth counsellor on board Disney Cruise Line, so I'm sure you could find out some information about being a YA on board if you go and check out her stuff. Also, another thing I've realised is that I'm very much a hand talker, and I have a little table here and I'm just like, I did very well in my first video not to use my hands at all, but we'll see what happens this time. Okay, so this is the only tag that I have found for Disney Cruise Line crew members so far. If there are other ones out there, or this was actually from someone else, all credit, pun? I don't know. All credit to them, but this is the one that I found and it's the one that I'm going to do. So there are 12 questions and this is kind of just a bit of an introduction into my life as a crew member and some basic information in case you're interested. So let's get into it. So question 1. When did you start working for Disney Cruise Line? So in my first video I mentioned that I started working for Disney Cruise Line in 2019. So I boarded the ship on the 29th of November 2019 after doing a week of shoreside training in Orlando. Question number 2 is, which ship is your home ship? So I've only been on one ship so far and that is the Dream, but I would love to get on the Wish. Like if I could make it onto the Wish opening crew, that would be a dream come true, and I know that that rhymes and I'm so sorry, but honestly that's my next goal, is to get on the Wish for the opening voyage, the maiden voyage. Like wouldn't that be awesome to like be on the maiden voyage of a cruise ship? But we'll see. Question 3 is, have you worked on any other of the ships in the DCL fleet? I guess I just answered that in the last question, so apologies for that. But no, I have not. It's only been the Dream, and for 7 months because I was stuck on board because of COVID. Thanks. Question 4. What is your role on the ship? So in case you missed my first video, my role is technically a merchandise associate. I do believe they changed the name about halfway through my first contract, but I can't remember if merchandise associate is the new name or the old name. Could not tell you, but I work in merchandise, specifically as a fairy godmother in training in the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. So the way that my contract kind of worked when we were actually working with guests was I jumped on board and started working in the shop straight away because they were full in the boutique. They had too many fairies in the boutique, so or they didn't have enough people in the shops. It was one of the two. It might have been they didn't have enough people in the shops, so they put me in the shops to begin with, where I did kind of all my basic on-board training, and for me that was my first guest facing role, so it was really fun to kind of start off in the shops and get into the get used to working in front of guests, which seems like such a mundane thing, but like working with Disney guests is completely different than working with like normal guests, without being offensive to normal people. But yeah, so I started in the shops for about a month and a half, and then I went up to the boutique, started my 1,000 years of training, and then I was qualified to work as a fairy godmother in training in the boutique, and I worked there for about a month and a half, and then the world crashed down. But yeah, so I work in merch. Question number 5 is, have you worked in any other roles on the ship? Thus far I have not. However, my goal is to work in other roles. I would love to work in crew staff. I would love to work as a performer. I grew up dancing and I would love to get back into main stage performing, or even hanging out with some characters. But my ultimate goal would either to work as a costume tech on board or as a stage manager. Stage manager would be like the #1 thing. That's kind of what that's what I've been working towards on land for the last 10 years, and if I could like combine my love of Disney and the ship and stage management, woo, dream come true. Question 6 is, what's your favourite port? So this is a funny one because when I was on the Dream, we only do 2 itineraries. One is a 3-day cruise, one is a 4-day cruise, and they go to the same places. So when we did have guests, I went to the same 3 ports for 3 months straight, which were Port Canaveral in Florida, Nassau in the Bahamas, how did I almost forget that, and Castaway Cay in the Bahamas as well. So not much to choose from. I'm not a huge fan of Nassau, if I'm perfectly honest. I also don't know how to say the name properly. Everyone you ask pronounces it differently, but it's just not my vibe. But between Port Canaveral and Castaway Cay, like Castaway Cay is just beautiful. Like it's like the sand is stunning, the water is stunning, like the vibe of the island is just, it's cool. Like it's so cool. But then Port Canaveral, you can get off and go for a walk and go to the shops and go to Bath and Body Works and have acai bowls and all that kind of stuff. So it'd have to be between Castaway Cay and Port Canaveral. I should probably say Castaway Cay, but it's probably going to be Port Canaveral. That was a whole story that didn't need a whole story, but there you go. Question number 7 is, have you worked during any special events or holidays? Now, because I boarded the end of November, I missed Halloween, which was a shame, but I got to experience Christmas on board and New Year's, which was just amazing. Like, the day that we boarded, we went into the atrium and the Christmas tree is like 2 stories high. It's huge. I don't know how many feet it is. But seeing that Christmas tree is just like amazing, and Christmas is my favorite time of year, so it was just super magical. Honestly, I say the word magical far too often, so apologies in advance. But yeah, so Christmas was really cool, and the Maritime Christmas cruises were just, the people on board those cruises were just so beautiful, like just such lovely people. But I got to work glow kart on deck 11 during New Year's night, and oh, being on top of the deck and watching the fireworks when the clock struck 12 was just awesome. And if I could do that every year, I would be a very happy little sailor. Question number 8 is, what's your favourite costume you've worn in your role? So in merchandise, you have 3. You have the classic blue blazer, blue skirt. Now it's blue and white. They recently changed the costume. Then you also have your Castaway Cay costume, which is, it's so cool. I felt slim. Slim and stylish when I wore my Castaway Cay costume, which is odd because it's literally just blue pants, like blue shorts and a blue shirt, with some Hawaiian flowers on it, like some tropical flowers on it. But that was a cute little costume. And then you also have your load costume, which is what you wear on embark days / debark days when you bring all the new merchandise on the ship, which is just a white shirt and long blue pants. And then in the boutique, you have 2 different costumes. You have your fairy godmother in training costume, which is the classic purple vest with all the bows and the big white puffy sleeved shirt with the ruffles on the end, and then just a classic blue skirt. And then you also have your pirate costume, which is this like jade emerald green shirt with a belt that cinches you in, and the skirt, like the waistband super tight, but then it goes out all fluffy, and the shape that you can get out of that costume is mint. And you also get like this piece of fabric that's a headband, and then you have to like play with it and make your own design headband. And then the last costume that we also get to wear from time to time is the greeting costume. Is that what it's called? Welcome line costume, which is a white blazer, and you get little epaulets, which usually only officers wear, and then you wear black pants and a cute little like tie thing, crossover bit. But yeah, so my 3 favourite costumes would probably be the welcome line, just because you feel super snazzy in that white blazer, even though all you do in it is clap in line for 3 hours. And then I love my pirate costume. Like I said, the shape that I could get out of that costume was phenom. And then I also love my classic fairy godmother in training costume. Like, nothing beats just being in that costume and like seeing the kids walk in and seeing you with your little purple bows and just looking magical. So those 3 are my favourite. I'm sorry, I know I'm getting into so much detail. This could be so much quicker if I just like one word answer, but that's not the kind of person I am. Question 9 is, where is your favourite location to work? So obviously I love working in the boutique. Like, you just can't you can't beat working in the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. I'm just going to call it the BBB. We call it the BBB on board. It's a lot of words if you don't say BBB, and even then that's a lot of consonants. But yeah, I love working in the boutique. It's a magical place where dreams literally come true. The other place that I really liked, which I mentioned before, was glow kart. So glow kart, if you haven't been on a cruise ship, during like party nights and stuff happening up on deck 11, we bring out this little cart that has glow products on it, which are just basically like glowing wands and bubble machines and swords and all this stuff that you require batteries for, which they do come with batteries, and your kids enjoy for approximately 3 minutes before moving on to the next thing. But there's just something being about, you work by yourself up there, and there's just the atmosphere of being on deck 11 in the open air, especially if there's a party on or fireworks, and having the kids come up to you and just seeing them play with it afterwards. Like, there's just something else that's really kind of special about it. And like, for me, it can get a bit stressful as well, because you have to do everything on an iPad then and there, and then if there's any bubbles that are floating around and bubbles get on your iPad shuts down. It's a whole thing. But yeah, it's just the vibe of doing that job is just slightly different, and I quite like it. So either the boutique or Glow Cart. Question 10 is, have you ever met or encountered any celebrities whilst working for DCL? I wouldn't say like A-list celebrities, but I did work during the creators cruise. So every now and then Disney invite a heap of social media content creators on board the ships or in the parks, and they basically are there to just kind of advertise the cruises and what you can do, and put together like vlogs and Instagram posts and all that kind of thing. So I came across quite a few people on that cruise, but I didn't know who they were prior to that. But there was like one person, or two people in particular, that came in who I wish that I had known who they were at the time. I didn't know who they were at the time. Other people did, and they told me they were on the cruise, and then they came into the boutique on Pirate Night, and it was Adam Hatton and Gary C from the Adam Hatton vlogs. And they came into the boutique on Pirate Night, and I think it was Gary got a pirate name. But no, I got to meet them, and they were really cool. Like, they're cool on their vlogs, and I've been watching their vlogs for the last like 2 weeks straight. Like I said, I have my computer open here, and literally the screen, the thing I have open behind my questions right here is an Adam Hatton vlog. Like, but anyway, so if I ever meet them again, that would be like an A-list celebrity to me. But yeah, I met them, and then when I was downstairs on Castaway Day and there were families getting off, I walked past the Gardner family. I can't remember what the handle is on Instagram, but like the Gardner family, where they have the 2 sets of twins, the quadruplets. I saw them as well, and I knew who they were. I'd been watching their stuff before I got on Cruise Line, and I saw them all walking off with their nanny on Castaway, and I couldn't say anything because I was in my fairy costume and I was just going down there to get something. But yeah, that was a little bit like, that was really cool, because I think their family is just really fun. But yeah, so those are the 2 people that I know / now that are celebrities, but no A-list celebrities that I know of. Question 11. Have you ever gone to Disney World on an Embark Day morning? I have once. So I guess for any department, but for merch especially, it's very hard to try to attempt to go to Disney World of a morning, because we do have load every Embark Day. So we start load at like, is it 7:30 or 8:30? I can't remember anymore, to be honest. It was over a year ago now that I've been on board. And then we finish at like 12:30, and then the ship leaves at like 4. I think, something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, but there was one time where we were able to, and it was because we had worked super hard during Christmas season. We had done really well in terms of the business, and our managers decided to give us all each one load morning off. So I went with 4 other pals, and we went to Disney World. They all went to Animal Kingdom. I went to Magic Kingdom and lived my best life for like 2.5 hours. I strolled down Main Street. I didn't really do much, to be honest. I didn't really have a lot of time, but I got my Nutella and fruit waffles from Sleepy Hollow. I went into the Utilidors, which I don't recommend doing. It was only because I have my Blue ID and I used to work in the Utilidors, like that's my home. And I watched Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair once or twice. I think I watched like the end of the first show and then watched the full second show. But yes, it is very hard to do, especially now with COVID rules. Not really sure what the process is, but I have done it once and it was magical. It was rushed, it was crazy. I was tired that night, but it was a great time, and yeah, maybe I'll get to do it again in the future. Also, apologies, I know I need to learn to slow down when I talk. I talk so fast all the time, and I will try to slow down for you all. So this is the final question. Question number 12 is favourite memory or funny story from your time with DCL. And this one is such a hard question because there's literally there's so many things. But I guess one story that I always kind of go back to is this one particular princess who I'm not going to talk too much about it because I want to do like a separate series where I just talk about like magical moments with guests. But there was this one little girl who came into the boutique and she got so scared and she didn't want to have the appointment, but her mum still really wanted her to, and I worked with her and she would not sit in the chair. She only wanted to sit on her mum's lap, and after like some talking to her and getting her excited about being there and all that kind of thing, she let me paint one fingernail, and then from one fingernail turned into the whole hand, and then we finally got her in the chair, and then I did the whole process and turned her into a beautiful princess. And at the end of it, her mum was crying because she was so happy that I had actually like taken the time to really like work with her and made it happen. And like I literally get goosebumps, like I don't know if you can see them, but I literally get goosebumps every time I tell this story or think about this story, because it really was for me just, not only was it like magical for this little girl and especially her mum, but it was also magical for me just seeing that little girl who was so shy and timid and then left feeling so beautiful. Like she left and she was jumping. She was so excited of what just happened. So that's definitely one of my top favorite memories of being on DCL, and I want to go back and experience those memories again so bad. But anyway guys, that is the DCL Tag Crew Edition. I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. Like I said, I apologize that I talk so much, but that's why I wanted to do this channel, is I wanted to share my experiences and my memories and any information that I had with you. So if that did help you at all, wonderful. If it gave you a smile, perfect. But that's it from me today. If you want to see anything else, please let me know. Just chuck a comment down below, and yeah, have a beautiful day, stay magical, and I will see you in the next one. Bibbidi bobbidi bye.